I'm tying Ray Bergman's Early Brown Stone on a number 16 fine wire hook with rusty brown thread. I'm using the recipe in The Founding Flies by Mike Valla, as well as a photograph of a fly tied by Ray Bergman. The tail and body are made up of 2 barbs from a pheasant tail. Try to get those tips to line up. Measure them about the length of the hook. Try to keep them on top of the hook, so I lay them a little bit forward. Do a pinch wrap to keep my thread in place. And then as I wrap up over them, that should torque them up onto the top of the hook. Then I have clipped the tips of the butt ends of those barbs so that my hackle plier will grab them together. And then I'm going to just lift them up, bring my thread underneath of them and to the front of the hook, and then I'm going to twist them counterclockwise. That should keep them twisted as I wrap the body. Bring them back, bring those barbs back far enough so that I'm covering all of the thread, and then touching wraps up the whole shank. And if they start to come untwisted, I can always stop and add right counterclockwise. Wrap, nice touching wraps all the way up the body. And there's going to be a little bit of variation in the color because of it's just the nature of the tail barbs to be slightly different color and variegated. And I will tie that off. My general rule is 3 wraps over the top to catch it in, and 2 or 3 tight wraps underneath. 2 will be enough here. Alright, try to practice some thread control, not just throw a bunch of thread onto the hook, but use the thread carefully, judiciously as needed for the purpose. The wing on this fly is a little unusual. It's done hackle barbs. So I have this feather that is mostly done. It gets a little bit gold out here on the tip, but these longer barbs down here towards the base or middle bottom half of the feather are what I'm calling dun. And dun is kind of an interpretive color. It's a gray-brown essentially. So just a pinch of those, and I'm going to tie them in on the top of the hook, and I want those to go down about halfway on the tail. So I'll just pinch those on top. I'm going to do another pinch wrap here. That helps me control the thread and keep those on top. I've kind of got them to bend upwards, and I don't want that. Okay, I want them just to lay down. So wrapping back over them so that they lay down nicely on the top of the hook. And then I can just clip out all the extra. I'm not going to wrap underneath of them. I don't think I need to. The front hackle is what's called furnace. So furnace is a hackle that has brown barbs with that black rachis down the middle, and I really want to get to use a hackle that's appropriate size for this hook. First, let me just cut a crew cut. So I pull down on the barbs to make sure that, or to cut really short little barbs, or that the thread will grab onto when I wrap into it, over it. See, it hangs onto that fairly well. And then I do want to have the barbs on this feather to be really, if I can, the gape or less. So I think I've gotten pretty good. I just clipped the tip off of a hackle feather, and yeah, they're a little bit long, but they're really not a whole lot more than 1.5. It's hard to find really small size 16 hackle. I mean, it's available. You just have to find it. So 3 wraps over the top. Now I did wrap this in with the shiny side forward so that those barbs would lean towards the back of the hook, and then I will just wet my finger and thumb, pull back on everything, and then wrap up over that for the head. See if I can just snap that out. Now it's a pretty tough rachis. I'll have to reach in and clip it out. Now the hackle on the fly that Ray Bergman tied is really bending, leaning back, almost like a wet fly, but I believe it's intended to be a dry fly, and it uses dry fly hackle. But by getting those barbs to lean back away from the eye of the hook, then I do have room to do a whip finish rather than needing to go in with a half hitch tool and just do some half hitches. Let's do 3 wraps. And it looks like I've got just a little bit of hackle stem or hackle rachis sticking out in front there. I think we'll be okay though. 3 wraps will be enough because I'm going to put some head cement on. Just take my scissors and push it against the thread to cut it out. It's a fairly contemporary twist to put some diluted goop on the head of that fly. Stick a needle in my jar. That'll soak in and dry clear. I do want to make sure that the eye of this fly is clean, so I'll take a hackle feather and push it through and make sure that it is clean and tippet ready.